What's up, guys? It's UMB Universe here, another redirect-based video to allow you to go see the reaction, and then if you want, listen to me ramble on about an episode that I got through watching 2 days ago. I forgot to mention the destructive capability, the percentage of success on her getting Miraculous in the previous redirect, which I need to actually get a list or something so I don't forget. Even though I'm doing this all in one go, when this is off the cuff, that sort of stuff happens. So her destructive capability is definitely up to an 8 to almost a 9, and her percentage of success. And her percentage of success had to be around 75, because if killing is a thing, she could have definitely have done it and just taken Miraculous from their cold, lifeless corpse. So there's that. And the overall design aspect and how creative her power was, to tell you the truth, it's just a girl with a sword. So, and when it comes to creative aspects, it's just how her design looked and how the sword was embedded onto her arm. That's the only real creative aspect to it, but you can really get the same amount of creativity from anyone just holding a sword. So there's that. So going on with this, Robostus. Hopefully I got that right. These names are just really complicated for me. But Robostus, this is one of my favorite episodes in the season, bar none. Because one, it brings up one of my favorite little things being robots, sentient or not sentient type of thing. What defines sentience? What defines a level of intelligence that makes you feel as though that this thing is not just a robot, but technically a person just with robotic skin? You know that sort of thing. And Robustus showcased that pretty well, and it also gave Max another good episode, showcasing his levels of intelligence and how he's willing to go above and beyond for who he believes is truly his friend. Even though he is a robot, it doesn't matter. He's still his friend. He has a level of AI that he developed himself to learn from the very beginning, and it's just the adult's fault this time how this thing was acumenized. And it showcased that acumenization does not just occur for humans. It can occur for anything with a level of sentience good enough to take orders, or just understand that sort of thing. Because later down the line you get a baby, which is a baby. So it means the level of consciousness and cognition doesn't necessarily have to be high for it. So tell me, can an alligator be acumenized? Can a deer get acumenized? Can a cat get acumenized? Can animals get acumenized? Like a very good sense. I can see a parrot getting acumenized. You know what I mean? And I would not put this series past it. And I would actually be pretty interested to see what a acumenized parrot would do. So yeah, and the level of the stakes in this episode was very high. The power output for this character is on the spectrum of being one of the highest they have to fight. It's a robot that can control other robots, make them fly, make them do a whole bunch of other things. And Stephen King was the guy I was thinking of in the reaction. Stephen King made a movie about robots. No, not robots, but just random objects just gaining sentience and just killing people, crushing people, doing that sort of thing. There was this truck with the Green Goblin mask on it or something. That sort of thing. So when you have that sort of premise, it's very hard to counter that sort of thing, especially when you only have a yo-yo and a staff. So I did like the power output to this character. Robustus, despite the design being one of the weakest, it's just red. He's just red now. I mean, I don't know, do something more. But beggars can't be choosers. The power output in general just made it. He can make robots. He can make a giant mech through other machines and outmaneuver, and even outthink them, because he is a robot. He's a thinking computer. He's able to counteract, and if it wasn't for friendship, technically, he would have won. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted Max to be by his side, if he was so trustworthy of Max, not trying to betray him because of their friendship, he would have won. And that's impressive, and that's impressive to me, how they're able to do that. Because every single time they thought they had the upper hand and how they were able to counteract Robustus, they couldn't do it. He was always one step ahead, and and it really showcased that level of complexity to this character. And he was the closest, very, very close to actually getting Miraculous. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. I can't believe I almost forgot this. And he countered Hawkmoth. Every other character always had the fear of, if they do not comply with Hawkmoth's demand of getting the Miraculous, they would get their powers taken away from them, and they would just accomplish nothing. But Robostus was able to stop Hawkmoth and distract him with his own levels of security inside of his own house, to make sure he can get the 2 Miraculous, and then he can get his wish. So I just thought that was a nice little dynamic. It also just showcased, hey, other people will want this wish as well if you tell them what these 2 things can do. If Hawkmoth told most of his Akumanized victims, because when he tells that, hey, just get the Miraculous for me, and they're like, fine, we'll do that. I'll do my personal thing as well, but I'll definitely get those Miraculous for you. But if Hawkmoth told them that, this is what the Miraculous can do if you put them together, they would actually have more incentivization to get it. However, you run the risk of what Robustus did and them trying to turn on him before they're able to do it. Simon Says, for instance, could have done that exact thing. If he knew that getting into Miraculous would do it, he would try to take control of Hawkmoth. He would try to take control of that. Even though he did take control of Mr. Aggress, who is Hawkmoth, it would have been more dangerous for him to do that. As for the situation itself, Hawkmoth, do we need to put up a counter for every time he Akumanized somebody? It run the risk of him being almost killed or gravely injured thanks to him Akumanizing a victim. Simon Says being definitely one of them, and now Robustus. Like, if Hawkmoth wasn't apparently skilled at a blade and good with reflexes with his own security, he would be dead right now. So luckily he has that level of skill with that Miraculous, and I was happy to see more use, because I'm sick and tired of just seeing the Miraculous be used just for Akumanizing butterflies and having Akumanized victims and telling them what to do, and never showcasing levels of strength and strategy. Well, at least strength. And what else can he do with this? Is he maneuverable? Can he do things? Can he actually teleport from that Volpina whatever episode? That sort of thing. So happy they showcase a little bit more of his skill set, and that his weapon is in fact a blade inside of a cane. So good on that front. He says he will make sure not to do something like that again. Be more cautious, because just because you give someone powers doesn't mean that they're 100% subservient, and so on and so forth. Now, let's see here. I'm going to skim through the episode just in case I'm missing something. Also showing more of the principal as well. I thought the principal was like really just like a their character, but he later gets his own little more development later down the line this season. So I'm happy they're showing him a little bit more, and they're also showing a whole bunch of other different characters that were Akumanized victims in the past, showing that there actually are just long-staying residents like the pigeon guy, and we've really been seeing more of the news girl. Be more like, and I don't know if this is a running thing they're doing now. It's just like every time she does the news, something bad happens to her. Like the robots are taking over, so the robots like push her out of the way. And like, and the Zappaties episode that comes later down the line. She's like, she gets an attack there. It's like she just can't catch a break in that aspect. And I also found it to be a pretty poetic justice or ironic. How Max, when he was Akumanized and he was the video game dude, they had their big climactic fight in the hold on, it's a football stadium or is it a baseball stadium? It's a soccer stadium, to be more precise. Okay, they go to the soccer stadium and they have their big fight. And when you get to a Max-based type of thing again with Robustus, they have their giant mech-like fight, even though it's not two mechs, it's just one mech type fight here. And I don't know if they did that on purpose. I don't know if that's just like since it also shows up again in the owl, I can see this is just a nice location to have just like the bigger things happen for characters. So I can see that also just being thing as well. So yeah, good. They're being the closest. Now I'll go into the power aspect. The power output, definitely a high 10, high 9. Really up there. Being able just to control machines and just also have them fly and do things that the machines are not even supposed to do, having a level of sentience like that, definitely is up there. the design and the power in general, how he's able to use it, how creative he was able to make this ability his own. The only problem with this, he's just red now. That's only it. But still, high aspects and how he used the abilities to his advantage, and his potential of getting Miraculous definitely in the 80 to 90% range, because he was really close. And the only thing that stopped him, the only thing that was detrimental to actually him succeeding in this task, even getting his own wish probably, is because he had too much trust in Max, when Max was not on the same side as him at that point. And it really showcased, it doesn't matter how good of a friend or how good of a person you are, when you are Akumanized, it is almost literally impossible to fight that level of control that you are just filled with hatred. You just have so much negative emotion that you don't even listen to any of your friends. So yeah, this episode was great. Later down the line, we get an episode that pretty much beats it later down the line. But this was definitely one of the high points in this season. So this is going to be Universe. Let's get next time. Bye.